So for our Sunday's best review, we have Avatar 2. This is Jake Sully's Banshee. So whether you purchase this figure at Amazon, at Mcfarlane, or through another website where this is available for sale, right now it would cost around $54, tax included. So what does this figure include? So right out of packaging, actually, it just includes a figure stand, which I'm going to show separately because I'm going to measure it for your reference with regards to how this figure is going to be displayed. So whether in a perched position like this or a flight pose using or utilizing the stand, I'm going to measure that up for your guidance. Personally, I waited for this specific version of Jake Sully to come out before I made a purchase of this Banshee figure. I had the impression that when you take the Banshee figure out of packaging, that major assembly is required, wherein you're going to snap on the head, you're going to snap on the wings and some of the parts of the figure. But actually, when you take the figure out of packaging, the only assembly that is required would be attaching the tail to the whole figure. And don't be afraid with regards to really pushing hard against the body, because that is the much needed connection. When you hear or feel that hard click, you know that that tail is not going off. But if you really go light and easy on the tail, it would just keep on detaching from the whole figure. So just for your guidance, when you attach the tail to the body of the figure, that take note of the color of the tail. So always make sure that the colored side is up and the uncolored side or the more neutral toned side is facing downwards. Mcfarlane Toys claims that this figure sports 22 points of articulation, and they are right. So I'm going to show the articulation points later on when we flip the figure on its belly. So right now on a perch position, because of the articulated points on this action figure, you could possibly have it on a perch position like this. Now the only articulation point that is missing on this Banshee figure is going to be the articulation point for the jaw line. So for the majority of the life of this Banshee figure in your collection, it's going to have a open mouth displayed like this. But does it really bother me to have that missing articulation point on the head, wherein I don't have an articulating jaw? Well, I really don't mind to have this kind of expression on my Banshee figure. So preferred with regards to the Neytiri Banshee and this Jake Sully Banshee, I prefer this Banshee with the open mouth. So let's measure in a perch position like this. If you could possibly hold the figure in a pose like this, what is the measurement in your display? So that's going to be 16.5 inches, and having that tail, because the tail area is on a flexible wired material underneath the rubbery plastic, so it's possible to bend it this way. So that is the most bend that I could make of this tail. So let's measure this guy up in a perch position like this in your display. That's going to be 15 inches. So we have the figure flipped over, so we could really take an accurate measurement of the wingspan and the total length of the body of the figure. So wingspan is going to be 25.5 inches. As for total length of the animal or the body of the Banshee, it's going to be 21.5 inches. So that's going to be head to the point of the tail. So just for reference point, I have the Jake Sully figure beside the pole or the stand of the figure. So diameter of the base is going to be 7 inches and total height of the perch is going to be 9.25 inches. So welcome to my biology class, wherein we're going to dissect the articulation points of this Banshee. So let's start with this area over here. So this rounded area is going to be the connection point for the figure stand, which I already showed. So for the points of articulation, let's start with the tail. So the tail is on a bendy wire system, so that is multi-directional. So for the articulation points, I'm just going to point out each. So we have multiple points of articulation on this area, multiple points of articulation on this area too. So for this area, we have a hinge, so that is a visible hinge, and this separate piece articulates on its own. We have rotation for that, and this piece also, this articulation point, you could take hold of that and rotate it too. So this is an articulation point wherein you could fold the foot of the figure inwards. So when not in flight pose, this is how you could possibly do that. So in a perch position, that is the articulation points, and actually it's just not just going to be a hinge system. We still have rotation since that is on a ball joint. So this side and that side, that's going to be on a ball. So moving towards the wing or the hand of the figure, so that is an area of multiple points of articulation too. So depends on how you're going to flex or position. This area is just like your shoulder point for a standard DC Universe Mcfarlane figure, wherein we have a rotating cap function of some sort. So the articulation point, multiple point of articulation also would be on the wing tip. So that is a separate piece that rotates on its own. Actually, this ball rotates on its own, and this piece also rotates on its own, and we have a hinge. So same on the other side. So for the neck of the figure, so that is a very long neck. So this area is also on a ball joint, so you could raise that on a pose or on a perch pose, or on a flight pose you could lower it. The head is also on a ball, which allows for multi-direction. So this really massive bird is a nicely articulating figure. So $54 worth of your hard-earned money. So since this area is really the most best area, this is the area wherein you see all of the articulation points of the figure. And if you wish to still add details on the underbelly of the figure, you could also do so. So I already took the camera phone out of its stand, so I'm just holding on to the camera phone while filming this angle for the details of this Banshee figure in flight mode. So really massive bird. So let's get a view from the top, and we still don't have the Jake Sully figure on board. So let's take a look at the details on the wing. So majority of the really nice details on the figure is going to be on the top portion, and we really have a bare portion for the undercarriage or the belly of the figure. So that's what I mentioned earlier in the video, that if you wish to still put details on the underbelly of the Banshee to really complete the really nice top, you could still do so. So this is the details on the head. So we have the antenna wherein you connect or you establish a neural connection with the Banshee. So this is the details on the perch or the saddle, and we still have a mount for Jake Sully's weapon. So either possibly the axe, or if you have a bow and arrow for Jake Sully. So not necessarily it has to have or be a avatar related bow and arrow. Just take a bow and arrow from whatever collection that you have on board that would fit a 7+ inch figure. So really massive looking bird. So we're going to rotate it so we could take a look at the massive wingspan in total flight mode. So we have Jake Sully mounted onto the Banshee and connected neurally. So you could place the end of the hairlock onto the antenna or the connection points or neural connection points of the Banshee. And I discovered that the axe that comes with this Jake Sully figure, the tactical version or the version 2, the axe really fits well in that scabbard. So I think that's not a scabbard for a bow and arrow, but more for the axe of Jake Sully. So this is how the figure looks. So he's riding onto the wind, and from the side. So I hope that we get a really nice angle, and I'm just holding onto the camera for filming this review. And let's do a avatar like angle this way, and a close-up look of Jake Sully with his rifle. So that is from a G.I. Joe Classified Series rifle from Sergeant Stalker. So I just modified it to make it look like the rifle that Jake Sully used in the first Avatar movie. So that is how he looks from the top, and let's get a wide angle. So I'm really happy that I purchased this Banshee, and I withheld on purchasing the first version of Jake Sully. So just an idea for my avatar display. So we have the AMP suit with the Banshee and Jake Sully. So if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe to help me grow my channel. And see you on the next action figure review.